All right, welcome everybody to the May edition of the Old Colony Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee meeting. We moved the meeting to May to coincide with Bike Month. So thank you everybody for clearing up your schedule and making it here today. I know Mary, you wanted to say a few words.
Thank you, Kyle. So again, welcome everybody. I'm Mary Waldron. I'm the Executive Director of Old Colony Planning Council. For those of us who are within this region, I know it's pounding on top of our building, but some heavy rains. My first PMC ride back in 2018, this weather is what I rode my 87 miles in and loved every minute of it. But as a cyclist and obviously one that really appreciates this mode of transportation, just the fact that we are taking the time here for the month of May as Bike Month. As you can see, our backgrounds at OCPC, we have it changed. The graphics are done by our talented communication team, Elise and Megan. Just want to thank them. But there's a lot, and we'll be getting into this into the rest of the meeting, but just want to acknowledge Kyle Mowat, who's been our point of contact and leader and management of this event, not just this year, but over the past years. He's also a cyclist. He's been a volunteer for the PMC and in charge of managing the various bike shops across the area and coordinating that. And he rode the off-road event last year. So are you doing it again, Kyle?
I don't think I'm going to ride it again, but I'm going to volunteer.
That's perfect. But again, right, there's lots of different ways. We reached out to the various communities and finding out where things are. So I just want to say thank you to our OCPC team, specifically Kyle for his leadership, and look forward to celebrating Bike Month here in our region. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Kyle.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the PMC Unpaved. It's a great event. If anybody has a mountain bike or hybrid bike and wants to do a shorter ride than the regular PMC, about like 50 miles, or they have a shorter one doing 25 miles. But yeah, it's a fun event. So I'll go ahead to the agenda. So we have a couple of guest speakers. We have Peter Sutton, the Bike and Ped Program Coordinator for MassDOT, and then Colleen Peckrell, the Outreach Coordinator for Safe Routes to School. And then we'll be talking about Bay State Bike Month and the event we have going on. And then Sean will be talking about bike and ped projects in the region. And then we'll just open it up for discussion after that. So I sent this out yesterday. I don't know how many of you filled it out, but maybe some of you got bingo. If you were able to get a bingo, just do like a thumbs up or something like that. I managed to get a bingo going diagonal from the top right to the bottom left. I know Mass Bike put this out to fill it out throughout the month of May, but I just filled it out in general.
And Kyle, if anybody did get a bingo, we will have a OCPC mug for everyone.
There you go.
I've never seen it before. How does it work?
So they released this as you're supposed to fill it out throughout the month of May. So if you like, say if you biked with a friend, you check that off. Used bike share, rented a bike to local business, took a ride on a new bike lane or trail. So I did all those, so I got the diagonal bingo. So it looks like no one got bingo yet. You can do it throughout the month of May though. So if you get a bingo, just send me a message and we'll get you a mug. All right, so now we'll pass it off to you, Pete, for the for your update from MassDOT.
Okay. Kyle, how much time do you want me to present in my slot?
However much you want to take.
Okay. All right. Very good.
So I'll stop. You're sharing your screen.
Hold on a sec. Mm. Let's see. Here we go. Can everybody see my screen now?
We
Okay.
see your Zoom. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you have the bike facility inventory up.
Yep. And yeah, I may as well start with a couple of announcements on the MassDOT side for Bay State Bike Month. We just confirmed an event this coming Monday on the 13th out in Westfield. Another trail tip project that MassDOT is funding is about to break ground, and just happened to be that Secretary Tibbetts Nutt was going to be out there in Westfield anyway for an event at Barnes Airport, and we decided to do two events out there. And this one is going to be an official groundbreaking ceremony, which are always very exciting to be able to expand the trail network across the state, especially out in Westfield, where a nice network is growing north-south from Northampton all the way down towards New Haven. So we're doing that. I expect also that on that Friday, the 17th, there'll be a bike to work event. That Friday, I think, is the official bike to work day for Bay State Bike Month, and a whole contingency of folks here in and around the Boston area get together at 10 Park Plaza here in Boston, and we ride over to City Hall Plaza, where the city of Boston always has a great event in the morning. Always hundreds and hundreds of people, great news coverage, lots of advocates, lots of agencies that are there. It's a really cool event, and happy to take part in that too. Maybe there may be one or two more related events happening on the MassDOT side, but I'll make sure to put the Westfield event into Mass Bike's events calendar because that will surely guarantee some extra attendance. But I wanted to start off with an update of the bicycle facility inventory. You guys have seen this for those who have seen me on this meeting over the past couple of years. It's what all of the bicycle infrastructure throughout the entire state. That's how it's mapped. I have a standing meeting every Friday morning with our GIS staff to make sure that everything is up to date, and we're constantly updating, improving, adding more and more projects. Everything highlighted in yellow here is funded for construction. A lot of these are MassDOT tip projects. Everything in orange is under construction. Not too much in the Old Colony area, but just off to it, you see the Mansfield Norton Rail Trail down at the lower left that is under construction, and I think is going to be done sometime this summer. I had a chance to go out on it a couple of months ago when it was a really nice day in February, and they're making great progress on it, and hopefully that will connect to an existing network down along the Taunton River eventually. But here is the projects just in this region. It's the map is interactive, as you guys know. So these are a lot of these projects. And Kyle, I was going to get your input on this. Remember last year, your intern Nathaniel Ryan sent me a whole list of complete streets projects that Old Colony was looking to implement, and this is one of them. This is North Elm Street. There was going to be a bike lane put in. It was funded for construction, and there are a bunch of other things down in Bridgewater. Plymouth had a whole slew of projects, and it would be great to find out if any of these have been completed. Is that something, Kyle, that you're monitoring from when they originally got entered in last summer?
I haven't checked on it since last summer, but I can get an update on all those projects, and maybe at the next meeting, I can do an update on that.
That would be great. Well, when do you expect that next meeting to be? Are these quarterly?
Yeah, so August
Okay,
would
yeah,
be the next
that,
one.
that would be great. Things should be in full swing. As you see on the interactive map, you can click on a segment. We got Federal Furnace Road here. That was also added, some bike lanes. South Meadow Road down in Plymouth, Carver Road, Samoset Street. Yeah, a lot of different things went in. So it's exciting that this neighborhood is getting built out. Here in Halifax, Elm Street. Also was supposed to get some bike lanes as we head up into the Brockton area. I'll do one quick project. I know that there's a bunch of intersection projects that are funded for construction. This is Lyman Street. Here's the MassDOT project number. And for those of you familiar with it, you can go to the project info URL, find out even more info about it. This is MassDOT's public-facing project info page. This is planned to be funded through the 2024 TIP program, Old Colony. So hopefully that will start. It says autumn of 2024. That will be great to monitor the progress of that. There's a couple more projects in and around downtown Brockton. I believe, yeah, that is it as far as the things that are funded for construction. So anyone have any questions on any of these projects?
Yeah, Pete, what's the can you describe the different colors, what they exactly mean?
Yep. Here's the legend here. Everything that is shaded yellow is funded for construction, and everything that is shaded in orange is currently under construction. So just for reference, this project here. Here's another thing that Nathaniel submitted last year in Abington. Washington Street. It is funded for construction, so we can see the status down there. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Everything else that doesn't have any shading on it, that's dashed, is a planned piece of infrastructure, whether it's envisioned in a long-term plan or is part of future TIP project, but hasn't been programmed for funding yet. That's what these usually are. This one, just for example, is on Route 28 northbound. Eventually, MassDOT would like to do some separated bikeways through there, getting down towards Brockton, because it is a very desirable, dense, heavy corridor that we'd like to connect up with the rest of the Boston area. So we just put its status as envisioned here. Speaking of Abington, I was going to ask, I can't see who's on the call right now, but I know that sometimes people from the municipalities do call. And I know that last year, when we gave out the Mass Trails grants for 2023, 2 communities in the South Shore got funded, Avon and Abington. And I was just wondering if either of those projects have started. Does anyone have updates on either of those?
I'll speak, since I don't know if we've had that conversation with them. Because as you know, Pete, there's the Mass Association of Regional Planning Agencies with a statewide trail. So I do not have, but I do know that we have I'm sorry, the I'm trying to think, my stumbling here. There is a lot of activity with some various grants in Avon, so let's get back to you on both of those. And perhaps
Okay.
we can
And
do some updating offline, just so we can get all of that updated.
sure. Another great thing about all of the MassDOT mapping software here within the bike facility inventory is that you can change layers. I just changed from a regular default layer to OpenStreetMap, which shows way, way more definition. I'm pretty sure this is what town of Abington was submitting for. They wanted to extend this existing shared use path beyond the high school, I think onto Broad Meadow Lane to eventually connect to Ames Knoll State Park. That would be a great connection, especially from the school and from Route 18.
Agreed. We
Uh,
here on the South Shore want to replicate what's happening on the North Shore with that, from traveling from Lexington all the way into Boston. So that's a good goal of where we'd like to be, but we have some work ahead.
yeah. Hey, for some reason, for some reason, the power supply that I was plugged into is not working. So I'm gonna
In the
switch
meantime,
here.
Pete, Charlie, do you have anything to add?
There we go. Power back.
No, just to your point, Mary, we'll check with both Abington and Avon. I could have sworn that the Abington project was definitely moving ahead. That was that one, the Glennett's Way connection, east-west. And I know in Avon, Bill Fitzgerald retired, and John Beater, who was the former DPW director in Plymouth, is now the town manager. So we'll check in with JB. And I know there's been a lot of work on Central Street.
Yeah,
connecting it to-
the Avon project was pretty small. It was right here in
Yeah.
John DeMarco Park, where
Yep.
I think they wanted to pave this existing dirt path. So happy to provide them with some seed money to do
Yeah.
that.
I would just give a shout out to a tip project in Brockton on Belmont Street over by
Okay.
Shaw's Plaza. I don't know if you can pan over to that area. It's
Sure.
a little bit
Let
to
me,
the east of the VA hospital. That's actually phase 3 of the Belmont Street corridor, and they just added the green paint for the bike lane. So it looks really nice and it looks really
Fantastic.
safe. So it's
Belmont Street is Route 28 here.
a
Is
little
that correct?
123, a little bit to the west.
128. Gotcha.
Yes, yeah, right there in the center, how it jogs down.
Yep.
Can you window out a little bit? Yeah.
Yep.
So it's right by Belmont at Angus Beaton and Brockton High School.
Oh, okay. I wasn't even aware of that project. Was that another complete streets job, or is that a tip project?
That's a tip project,
All right.
and they just did the final striping within the last couple of months.
So it's right along here, Belmont, and
Yep.
this area by the high school.
Yep. Yeah, it
Excellent.
looks really nice, and that whole corridor is, it looks like it was a little bit of a road diet using striping, and there's definite pedestrian accommodations and bike accommodations there on State Highway, so that's pretty exciting. So
All right. Well, this is another update that I can take care of on Friday morning when I meet with the GIS staff, because obviously I did not have this mapped in there. I mean, it's sometimes challenging, but it's not a bad problem to have, right? That there are so many projects going on that we're constantly updating things.
We do have a couple questions in the chat.
Okay.
First one's from Alexis. She's just wondering what the date for the ribbon cutting in Westfield is.
Yep, that's going to be this Monday, the 13th. And Alexis, I'll put that event in the Mass Bike calendar. I'll probably do that right after this meeting.
And then the second question from Shane O'Brien in Bridgewater. How can we find a way to help connect the bicycle striping and signage completed in Raynham along Route 104 in Bridgewater? Is there funding available solely for signage and paint?
Yeah, that would fall nicely under the Complete Streets program if that stretch of Route 104 is under local jurisdiction. If it's under MassDOT jurisdiction, that's something that we could, take care of as far as a routine maintenance project. If you want to, if you want to shoot me an email with additional details about that, I'll be happy to look into it. Let let me know exactly where the project limits are and what town, and can take it from there.
Sure thing.
Kyle, I was going to touch on one more thing that we presented on last week at the Innovation Conference. Do you want me to give a quick overview on the Next Gen Bike and Pedestrian Facilities Vision Map? Do I have time?
Yeah, definitely go for it.
Okay. So I know that some of you may have attended the Innovation Conference last week. It was at the DCU Center in Worcester. It was a huge success. We had 1,100 people attend in person, and it gave us a chance to present on what we're working on and planning. You guys have heard me talk about this for probably going on 2 years now. I think it was the summer of 2022 that myself and the folks in the highway division were going to initiate this project. And this is basically a continuation of the updates to the statewide bicycle and pedestrian plans that we did in 2019. Out of that project, we had $60 million to implement quick build projects all around the state that we have done over the past 4 years. Things like crosswalks, bike lanes, some separated bike lanes where we could fit them in, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, new curbs, new tactile warning strips, redoing some intersections that were, like I said, modest kind of quick build things. So when all was said and done, I think we did close to like 100 projects over the past 4 years. But we always knew in the back of our mind that we were going to have to come up with a bigger slate of projects that were more medium term and long term. We're talking like 5 years out, 10 years out, and maybe even more. So we enlisted one of our on-call consultants to start working with us on this next gen bike and ped vision map. And I'm happy to say that we're probably at about the 75% completed phase right now. And we presented on our progress thus far when we were at the Innovation Conference last week. The project goals, supporting MassDOT's goal in expanding the high comfort bike network for pedestrians and bicyclists to all applicable MassDOT facilities statewide that are within the range of a short walking or biking trip. Like I said, these spun out of the bike and ped plans. And when in 2021, we did a quick update on some of the work done thus far. This is on our bike and pedestrian webpage on the MassDOT website. And this is a pretty neat snapshot in time of what we were able to accomplish. If you have time, check it out. But back to the present, a lot of, or I would say most of, this next gen bike ped vision map was data driven. One of the things that when the plans came out in 2019 is that we had a lot of data at our disposal, but just fast forward to almost 5 years, and the amount of data at our fingertips that MassDOT keeps accumulating in our data portal Geodot keeps on increasing. We have better data to work with compared to 5 years ago when we first put out that original run of the potential for everyday biking and walking maps. So we were really excited to be updating this, going down the whole list of all of the existing data sources that we used on the original plans, pretty much at the top of the list. But as you get further and further down, we have added things like commuters that walk, bike, and take transit, designated truck routes, resiliency, which is big now, parcel and assessing data, ped bike volumes. We've rolled out counters all across the state. potential for everyday walking and biking. Like I said, the MBTA bus network redesign has come online since then, and we're using that data to help inform where there should be better walking and biking projects, especially around bus stops. We have a whole slate of safe routes to school projects that we can map now, miscellaneous bike and ped projects that are things that our highway division was working on a separate on-call study. Just a lot of new data at our fingertips. And the very last one is the Beyond Mobility study that I'm sure a lot of you have heard about. That's another long-range planning study going out to 2050 that folks in our office, Liz Williams and Derek Cravat, have been working on for the past couple of years. And they're really excited because they're looking at our project here, the Vision Map, as a slate of projects complementing the whole Beyond Mobility project and study. So it is nice to have that whole slate of projects that you can turn to that will support that study. Screened out. We originally had 3 categories of roadways that we wanted to cover in this. Roads that were under MassDOT jurisdiction, that was a no-brainer, but we also wanted roads within the national highway system and roads that were federal aid eligible. And we actually did that for the first cut, but in the past month or so, we decided to just focus on roads that are under MassDOT jurisdiction again, just because the number of miles was just so big, thousands, that we just needed to scale back and make things more palatable and more realistic. We always think that it's a good thing to set realistic expectations. So the good thing about this GIS study is that, we still have all of those other roadways under those 2 categories mapped. And if we want to go back and revisit that, we can always toggle them back on and off as funding becomes available. But at this time, we're just going to focus on the MassDOT roads, of which there are plenty. I'm going to skip ahead to the vision map. This was the gap analysis that we spent most of last fall and winter going over. The vision map development cut things many different ways. We also weighted projects and came across a list that we were happy with. There's the weighting, technology integration. This is what things look like, the comparison between weighted and unweighted. Going all the way to the next steps, we're in the process of redefining our project prioritization methodology for the final project identification output. The final product that we will certainly be presenting on to this group and other MPOs all across the state will be a map set of 26 maps, 2 for each of the 13 MPO regions, and they will contain all of the MassDOT priority maps that we used all this data to measure. But we're also drilling down one layer more. We're going to separate them out from urban and into rural categories too, just for equity. We definitely just don't want all of the funding and resources going to all of the gateway cities, although they certainly will have their place, but we also wanted to have rural considerations as well. We're trying to wrap this up this summer. We just had another 3-month extension with our on-call consultant, so they are feverishly working to get all that done. And with that, if anyone has any questions on this as well, I'll be happy to take them.
I don't see any, but yeah, thank you, Pete. That was a great update.
Yeah, stay tuned. I'm really excited about this project, as you can tell. And once it's complete in the summer, like I said, we'll have a long range vision map of things that we can build out in under 5 years, then 5 years, 10 years, maybe even longer, throughout the entire state. So thanks again, everybody. I'll turn it back over to you, Kyle.
All right. Thank you very much.
So Kyle, I dropped in the chat the link to the MassDOT Complete Streets interactive map. So that's where you can check the status of projects, of what's been in the prioritization plans, and what's been funded. So that's actually a great interactive portal. And the nice thing about that is most of our communities are covered with policies and prioritization plans. So we're going to work with the communities that don't have the policy in place, so to fill that gap. So hopefully we can get a response, because our goal is always 100% coverage for the complete streets policies in the region. And so
yeah, OCPC well represented. That's always good to see.
Thank you, Charlie. All right, I think we'll move on to Safe Routes to School. Colleen Peckrell is here just to give an update. They just had on May 1st their walk, bike, and roll to school day. So get an update about that.
Thank you, Kyle. Good morning, everybody. I'm also going to share my screen. Oh, maybe I'm not able to.
Yeah,
But
just
that's okay.
made you a co-host, so you
Oh.
should be able to share now.
Fabulous. Thank you. Okay. All right. So Kyle had asked me to come and join and just speak a little bit about the flagship events that we had last week to celebrate, to kick off our bike month. Happy Bike Month. Happy May, everybody. For those of you who I haven't had a chance to introduce myself to, my name is Colleen, and I am the outreach coordinator for the Southeast Cape and Islands region of Massachusetts. And I'm also joined by my colleague Bonnie, who is the outreach coordinator for the Southern Central region, and Maggie, who is not with us today, but she is also an outreach coordinator for the Metro South region. So as Kyle alluded, last Wednesday, May 1st, was our Massachusetts Walk, Bike, and Roll to School Day. This is one of 3 of the Massachusetts Safe Routes to School flagship days. So we do have one in October and February, but then May is kind of our biggest event because it really is kind of a kickoff to celebrating Bike Month. So we actually had across the state, there was about 275 schools that registered to participate in the event, which is fantastic. As far as communities that kind of overlap with the OCPC territories, here are a few communities that had schools sign up to participate. Brockton, I know, had, if not all, most of their elementary schools. Duxbury had their high school and middle school participate in a park and roll kind of event just because of the infrastructure in the area. Easton and East Bridgewater both had schools participating, as well as Plymouth and Stoughton. This is actually a photo from one of the schools in Duxbury, which is in my region. As you can see, the bike parking was overflowing last week, despite, even the gray kind of rainy day. They had so many bikers out to celebrate. So I just thought this was such a great photo. And, love to see more bike racks, but I don't think bike racks would be enough for that day.
Yeah,
and what
that's awesome seeing all those bikes in the front there.
I know, isn't that a great photo? It just made me so happy to see, and all the helmets hanging off the sides too. I think it really kind of speaks to the interest that the communities have in having these sort of bike events. And what I think is very interesting, and I think Bonnie and both Maggie can attest to this as well, is, not every school community is able to host some sort of, walk or bike to school event where students are leaving from their homes and biking and walking to school. They really try to host events that make sense for their students and their school community. So I mentioned, a park and walk and roll. That's a very common thing for schools to do, where they'll have a central meeting spot, and then everybody gathers kind of in that parking lot. similarly to what I mentioned in Duxbury, and then they kind of have a shorter route from that destination to the school. So I think, in thinking about some of the communities that might not have the infrastructure yet to support, safe walking and biking, I think there's still ways to promote biking and active transportation outside of just walking and biking to school. So for anyone who is not familiar with the Safe Routes to School website or the program in general, we do kind of break down our community events into the 6 E's. And so if you are on the Safe Routes to School website, you would find a flagship event information under the encouragement E. So I've kind of highlighted it here. This is a screenshot of the website. So if you were to click on the Safe Routes to School flagship events, and I'm actually going to do that, and hopefully it takes me to. Okay. All right. So when you're in the encouragement subpage of the Safe Routes to School website, you will find more information about the flagship events. This is also where you can register to participate in the flagship events. So if I just go in here, it will kind of break down each of the 3 flagship days, iWalk being October, Winter Walk being February, and then our Massachusetts Walk, Bike, and Roll Day in May. And then what's really neat is if I go to the registration page.
Colleen, you're still on the PowerPoint is still showing.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. Okay, hold on. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay. Is that better? Can everybody
Yeah.
see? Okay, fabulous. Sorry about that. So let me actually just go back to the website so that everybody can see. So this is just our homepage. Like I mentioned, flagship days are under that encouragement tab. So we have a little bit more information about the 3 different flagship events on here. iWalk, Winter Walk, and Massachusetts Walk, Bike, and Roll. And then if you are to register for the events for one or all, you can actually head to this page, and on the left here is the panel to, put in the details of the event, but it's also a great way to see what communities are participating in any of the 3 walk, bike, roll to school day events. So green is the May event. So you can see, there's a couple communities. Brockton had a bunch of schools participate. Like I mentioned, Plymouth and Duxbury. So definitely some participation. Would love to see, more communities participate in the fall for the next October walk to school day. But I think overall it was a really successful event. And I know some communities are still planning to host events throughout the month of May and have chosen not to do an event on May 1st. And that's okay too. We have the whole month to celebrate Bike Month. So we can be on the lookout for other sort of events happening outside of last week's event. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of give a quick update on who participated. And I think, we were thrilled to see so many schools share positive experiences despite, the weather and whatnot. So I think it was an overall really successful event. But if anyone has any questions about the flagship events or the registration process, feel free to ask now and or reach out to myself, Bonnie, or Maggie at any point. And we can also kind of help serve as that middleman for communicating with the schools too, if you're interested in speaking directly to the schools and finding out what they are doing. We are a resource for that as well. So.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Maybe we can we can try to promote this with our communities through our newsletter for the next event in October. Get more schools to sign up for your next event.
Yeah, that would be great. And I think, some schools might just not even be familiar with it. So I think spreading the word, and I think the more schools that participate, and as schools find out that other schools are participating, it's just kind of a chain reaction. So yeah, that would be fabulous. And I'm happy to share more resources too, as that next flagship day gets a little bit closer.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Welcome.
Kyle,
Yes.
can't find the raise hand function on Zoom, but I just wanted to take a moment and thank Colleen for connecting with Rhonda Nyman in the town of Hanover, because a couple months ago they were asking about the Safe Routes to School program, and we connected her with you, and you certainly worked with Hanover to get them into the system. And as you pointed out, there are schools in different stages of the Safe Routes to School program, and our goal is always to have 100%, schools in the region participating in one way, shape, or form. Some are more legacy users, but it's always refreshing to see the new ones coming in too. And something we're mindful of is, of course, as school superintendents and principals turn over, it's always an opportunity to re-engage with those schools, because they might be coming from out of state and not be entirely aware of the awesome support that, you and your team can provide. So
I agree that with that, Charlie. Old Colony Planning Councils enjoys our relationship that we do have with Safe Routes to School. We always keep needing to work with our board, our council members. But I think as we get, and I know Yolando has children in the Brockton school system, right? It's all avenues that we're able to have this conversation, but really just appreciate the again, the communication and the programs that we have with Safe Routes to School.
All right, so moving on, can you guys all see this the flyer here? Yeah. So we'll just talk a little bit about our Bike Month event that we're having. We're partnering with Brockton Area Transit on May 15th. We're having a get to work with your bike and bat, or if you're just biking for leisure, exercise, happen to be out that morning, 6 to 9 a.m. at the Bat Center. We'll be providing coffee, light refreshments for anybody on their bike. So feel free to come by and celebrate Bike Month with us. And this flyer was put together by my colleagues, Elise and Megan. They did a great job on this. And hopefully it's not raining like it is this morning, but if it is, there will be a rain date for the following Wednesday on May 22nd. So now Sean, he'll be providing an update on a couple projects in the OCPC region.
Yes, thank you, Kyle. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Sean Bailey. I'm a senior transportation planner here with Old Colony Planning Council. And the two projects that we'll be discussing today, the first is in the town of Kingston. It's State Project 608615, the bridge replacement of Bridge K-01-014, Smiths Lane over Route 3. Which will be a full replacement of the bridge, as well as the bridge being widened to accommodate future traffic growth, as well as providing both bicycle and pedestrian accommodations, as well as intersection improvements at the Smiths Lane and Route 3 northbound ramps, and also the Smiths Lane and Route 3 southbound ramps. And then the second project is State Project 613358. Phase 2 of the corridor improvements on Route 138 in Stoughton from the Canton Town Line to Charles Avenue, which will include mill and overlay, new and reconstructed sidewalks, on one side of 138 between Canton Town Line and York Street. South of York Street, there will be sidewalks on both sides, as well as buffered bike lanes, ADA compliant curb ramps, as well as signage and pavement markings. And I believe Barbara LaChance is on this meeting today. Barbara, do you happen to have any other updates regarding either of these projects?
Good morning, everybody. Barbara LaChance, I'm the District 5 planner. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, I do have some updates for you. A little bit of background on the Kingston project. Originally, that project was slated to be the bridge replacement and just the northbound ramps. And then due to all the development, the redevelopment of the mall and the Amazon site going in, the scope has changed to include the southbound ramps and the mall way. So that being said, we're currently re-going through the ICE process, I guess, for that intersection. So we just finished looking at the applicability form. There was, the 2 intersections and also a couple of other minor streets in the area that they've looked at. So that one is currently going through the ICE process there. So that one's at least, moving forward. I know this project has been around for a few years, but we're trying to get to a resolution as to what we're actually going to be doing out there. And the Stoughton project, the design is in very good shape. This one was broken apart from phase 1 due to Article 97, which is, cultural resources. And I think it was, I'm not sure if it was wetlands or what was the issue out there, but there was definitely Article 97 process out there. It's currently working its way through that process and also going through MIPA. I believe an EIR will be required out there because it is an EJ community. So that being said, the design has moved forward. I believe we're at PSNE, if not completed PSNE already. And we are just waiting to get through this process with Article 97. So hopefully it's scheduled right now I believe it's scheduled now for February of 25 for advertising. So I think it was originally in like October or something like that of this year for advertising. So we're just trying to get through that process and meet the February advertising date right now for that process. So moving along with both of them.
Very good. Glad to hear it. Thank you,
Yes,
Barbara,
yes.
for those updates.
Yeah, very welcome.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments regarding either of these projects? Okay, thank you very much.
General
Oh,
question,
yes,
not
yes,
on
Chike.
this project. On bike per se. Bike seat for men is very, very unhealthy. It has been that way for a long time, and I don't believe anybody have asked the designers to look into it. It's actually the opposite of what it should be.
You're talking about bike seats?
Yes, bike seat.
Yeah, I know you brought that up at another meeting, and
Yes.
that following meeting, I did do a short presentation on that. I don't believe you were there though,
No.
but I can send you the information on that.
And maybe Kyle shared did we record that meeting? If we didn't, but if we,
Yeah, we definitely have a recording.
okay, maybe we can send that to Chike.
Yeah.
Okay. Have they looked? We said, have they started looking into redesigning it, or is this still the same?
Kyle, Charlie has his hand
The
up.
configuration of the seat for men is very bad for posturate. I rode a lot of bike when I was younger, but I have not touched a bike these days because of it. It is a terrible design for men regarding posturate issue. And I don't think they have looked into it ever since. It has been that way from way back. They should look into it. There should be a better design for men.
Charlie?
Sure, thanks, Kyle. So following up to Barbara's and Sean's update on the Stoughton project. I know this is phase 2 of the Route 138 corridor project. Maybe Sean or Barbara, could you comment, because phase 1 was advertised for construction bids probably 2 years ago, and what's really neat about that project is it will connect right to this phase 2 and go all the way down to Lincoln Street and Stoughton. It's So there will be bike and ped accommodations much further along 138 in Stoughton. And this was a, project in the tens of millions of dollars. So it's really exciting to see that connectivity.
I agree, Charlie. This section was actually originally part of the first phase. We decided to break it apart because we didn't want to delay that portion from being advertised. So because we knew that there were going to be Article 97 issues holding it up, we actually decided to change the project limits and make this section a separate project, so that we could move forward with that first portion. So it is going to be a very, very, very good connection along that corridor, for bike and peds and, even for motorists too. So it's going to be a nice section.
Yeah, and thank you, Barbara. And just a little further south too, in the town of Easton, there's been a couple projects on 138 as well. Route 138 Union Street near Easton Pool and up to the Roach Brothers Plaza where they added sidewalks and bike lanes and a signal. And just to the south, there's a project on the docket for advertisement in 25. It will adjoin that project and go southerly to the intersection of Elm Street at 138. So that's very exciting to see sidewalks being connected and bike infrastructure being added to 138 as well. So.
Yep. I know where we can, we try to most definitely add, bike and peds on every single job we do. That's our goal, is to provide good connections.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Charlie. I saw you posted on the link to the intersection control evaluation ICE, just info on the ICE process. And then Alexis just posted All Out Adventures has events all over the state, and they advocate for trikes and recumbents that address Chike's concerns about bike seats. So thank you, Alexis, for posting that. And then I know we're getting close to 11:30, but I'll just briefly go over a few things here. Beyond mobility, the MassDOT's next statewide long-range transportation plan. Executive summary are now out for public comment, and they're available for review on the plan website. This public comment period will end on May 31st. Proposed MBTA fiscal year 2025 to 29 capital investment plan. There is a Zoom.
There was. It was last night.
Yes, it was last night.
Okay.
So going the next one, Massachusetts Project Intake Tool, MapIt 5.0 virtual classroom. This will be available from the UMass Transportation Center. That'll be on May 16th at 10 a.m. And then the MassDOT online grant management tool, Grant Central. MassDOT on May 2nd, they launched an online grant management tool for municipalities called Grant Central. Cities and towns can use the portal, spearheaded by MassDOT's Highway Division, to apply for program funding, submit project requests, and submit expense reimbursement requests. And additional programs that will soon use Grant Central is complete streets, local bottleneck reduction, municipal pavement, municipal small bridge, and the shared streets and spaces program. And there is there's a Zoom webinar on this tomorrow, actually at 3 p.m. for anyone who's interested.
For anyone that applies for any of these grants, this is good news. This is making everything a one-stop shop on one website for all of these programs. And hopefully in the next year or so, we'll be able to migrate the Mass Trails team grants over to this as well. That's our intent anyway.
And then no solid date yet, but the next meetings will be in August and November. And I know Mary said she wanted everybody to hang around so we can do a group photo.
For those, there we go. If you are able to get your cameras on, that's awesome. We will look for you all in our next newsletter. This is perfect. I'll wait for a couple more folks. Thank you for doing that. If you feel comfortable. Otherwise, I think I've got everybody on one screen here. So one more minute. And all right, Andrew, look at the camera. Perfect. Well, on a count of three. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. We're good. Thank you, everybody. Happy Bike Month, and look forward to seeing everybody on the streets and those shared streets. Thank you, Kyle, for running the meeting.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Thank you, everyone.
See ya. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.